Hello my friends, I'm Duchess and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be redrawing old art that I made in 2022. Let's get started. Alright, so I made so many drawings that I could have chosen to redraw, but I wanted to draw this one the most because I've already redrawn it before. The first one I made was in 2020 and then I drew it 2 years later, which was last year, and now I'm redrawing it again just because I want to see have I really improved within the certain time span. So yeah, compared to before, I was very new and I didn't know how to utilize any of the Procreate tools or use any of the brushes. I also didn't know how to render or use basically anything that Procreate had to offer. I only knew how to use Alpha Lock and the color wheel, and that was pretty much it. Also add layers, color wheel, and Alpha Lock was all I knew. So I didn't know how to do basically everything. So when I was looking at the 2020 and the 2022 versions, I felt like you could see a lot of improvement because the first one is just very plain. It's very 2D. There's basically no rendering. The proportions are totally off. The colors are very dull. And then in the next one, it's much more rounded. She looks less 2D, a little bit more rendering, more details, and it just looks better. So I wasn't so sure about redrawing it for a while because I was afraid that if I redrew it, I wouldn't see a lot of improvement from last year till now. It's been a little bit more than a year since I've drawn it, maybe like 18 months. So it would be really bad if I redrew it and there was nothing, like no big difference, right? So anyways, while I was drawing, I thought about giving her a different pose or making her pose more dynamic because I have practiced a little bit more with drawing different poses and just being more out of my comfort zone. But I decided against it because I wanted it to be more similar to the original version. That way I could better compare. If I do decide to draw this drawing again in the future, I will probably change her pose a little bit, but we'll see. Anyway, so the sketching phase was very simple and easy. The character I created is pretty basic and there's nothing too complicated about her clothes or her facial features. I feel like everything's really simple. So yeah, that wasn't a struggle at all. The next step was line art, which took me longer. Some of you may know that I change up my line art style all the time, and so I wasn't sure about this part, but I just did whatever I felt was natural, and I just tried not to force myself to draw any particular style. And yeah, so like no anime style, no realism style. I didn't focus on whether or not the lines were too thick or too thin or messy or neat or anything. So yeah, it wasn't too bad, I guess. I had trouble with her hand, but I mean, I always have trouble with hands, so that's not really anything new. The line art turned out pretty good though, so I moved on to the coloring. Although I don't know for sure if I have improved a lot over the past year from 2022 till now, I can say for sure that I am better with colors. I used to just pick random colors that I thought would look good together, and I never really paid attention to whether or not they balanced each other out, if they're contrasting colors, or if there was enough difference in the values of the colors. So yeah, this time I took the time to really pick and choose the colors and adjust them using the Procreate tools that I didn't know how to use before. So yeah, I was actually really happy with the colors for this drawing. The rendering was the next step, and this took as long as the line art. I just spent a lot of time shading and making sure that everything was shaded thoroughly. I can't really compare my art now to my old art if I'm not putting my 119% effort into it, right? Because that just doesn't make sense, because what is the point of comparing? So for this drawing, I used more layers and I also added extra details so that I can really see how much I've grown since then. Last but not least was the makeup part. I like to do this part last because it's so satisfying and it's just one of the most enjoyable parts of drawing for me. I like to add color to brighten up their faces, make it look more alive, not dead. Add the lipstick, the shiny highlights, and also little tiny sparkles. I've actually really refrained from using sparkles a lot. Before, I never ever drew backgrounds. It's just plain or a solid color or a solid pattern, and there's nothing else. I still don't draw them much, but I can say that I have tried and spent more time this year working on my backgrounds compared to before because, yeah, like I said, I never drew backgrounds, and sometimes I do now, and there are times when I spent a lot of time on the background. So yeah, but to save time, I decided not to do something really detailed and just put a really simple background and be done with it. Alright, so from 2020 to 2022, I improved immensely. I feel like I don't even need to explain it because the difference is just huge. As for 2023 and 2022, I'm actually pretty happy about it. I was afraid that I wouldn't see any obvious difference in my art, but I can definitely see it. So that's my art journey so far. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zones and grow as much as you guys can. Also, it's not healthy to compare yourself to other artists. The only person that you really need to compare yourself to is your past artist self, and that's what I did today in this video. So yeah, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about the 2023 version, and if you guys think it's better than the 2022 version. If not, let me know down in the comments why, because I would love to know. Alright, so that is all I have for you guys this week. If you guys enjoyed this week's video or learned something new, please give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get notified. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next week.